Hello, welcome to the Zero Ends channel. Please like and subscribe. Please enjoy our live.
Zero Ends. Welcome, guys. Welcome to a special edition here on the Zero Ends channel. I am Zero Ends. You see the title, you see the thumbnail. Do I need to go any further on what you're about to listen or see? I don't think so. So, no further ado, let's get started. And as always, this is my perspective of these two gentlemen. And don't knock it till you try it. But let's listen to the argument that started off and this intense ideology battle between the two contenctors. We'll start how I'll begin by the sergeant himself on the left. Let's go. Fair use, fair use.
Neferkare Dessalines recent video. And as I was listening to it, I had a bunch of thoughts. Now, I haven't been listening to his back and forth in the exchange between Dennis Sperling and himself. I think it's quite ridiculous with the whole, Dennis suing Neferkare and just the back and forth. I just think the shit just got way too personal, and Neferkare, in my opinion, is the one that got personal, going into calling Dennis, a failed lawyer and all this other shit. Yeah, that's personal shit. Um, but Dennis, and again, Dennis and I have not always agreed. He's a very religious man, and I'm not. I don't like the magical aspects being brought into conversations about black empowerment. I don't see what that has to do with anything, but I also have a lot of people who follow me who are religious themselves, and they just kind of, chew the meat and spit out the bones and take what they can take, from the conversation and use it as they so decide to use it. I'm not here to necessarily attack people who are religious. I just don't value it, and I have no issue expressing that I don't value it. But that's pretty much the extent, of our disagreement. But I'm listening to Neferkare, and I've seen the titles of his videos. I'm subscribed to him. I'm watching stuff come up. I started listening to him more once the Carmelo Anthony case, you know, started kicking off, and how he was defending him, and solid arguments. Big supporter of that. However, listening to his content about Pan Africanism, and you know, I guess people are using it as they're trying to weaponize it against him. Saying that basically he's contributing to the division. Um, First off, you can't divide that which is already divided. Most African Americans had a philosophy of Pan Africanism before most other black people. The Africans, we know that they're tribal, and everybody else pretty much, they have their own language, they have their own culture and way of doing things, and African Americans are like by themselves on an island. But we're the ones that we don't know ourselves, we don't know our culture, right? Because the white man stripped all of it from us, right? So we've been the ones that have always tried to run around and try to get back with our roots and whatnot. And we really get disrespected a great deal because of it. Aside from the media and the propaganda coming from the system of white supremacy, which criminalizes us. And then you have these, groups, these immigrant black people, Caribbean black people, African black people who come to the Americas, completely overlook the fact that the only reason they're even allowed in America is because of the conflict, fighting, and bloodshed and hard work of African Americans to even make that possible. And then they come here.
Now, I have to pause for a second. And the reason being is a lot of people that either are first time Americans or just came here when they were like maybe a toddler or teenager, was roughly most people that are actually what we consider fully black. They don't have really a concept of the door that was already, actually, the table was already set for them, that was placed in by people that's been here since the beginning of the inception of America, that built America. And in my opinion, it would be respectful for most people that are black that don't have no ties to America to pay a little bit more respect and homage to the very few people that are descendants of slaves here in America. A little bit, and be a little bit more respectful because they have a heart. And I think most people that's either from Africa or the Caribbean do not really show that respect. And this is why the divide stands as it is today. Rather, it's intentional. We as black people, we continue this ongoing divide freely. So I would agree that, with Sergeant WP on this statement. Let's go.
And they shit on African Americans. Now, don't get me wrong. There's African Americans that have self-hate issues, and I remember, back in the '90s, phrases like African booty scratcher and whatnot. Um, but that's just, one of those psychologically immature things. But I definitely see, African Americans trying to get in touch with, their African roots and their history and their background, more than I see Africans or Caribbean blacks that really pay homage and give any amount of respect to African Americans and what African Americans have been through in this country. And so listening to Neferkare, um, his conversation starts to sound like nigger babble. Now, what is nigger babble? Nigger babble is just when you talking just to be talking. And I say that respectfully because, right now, at post this recent election, a lot of black people recognize, for the first time in a very long time, as Dr. Hendrik Clark used to say, we don't have any friends. Okay, we've been dealing with disrespect from everybody from quite some time, both non-Africans and Africans. We've been dealing with that immigrant disrespect. The idea that America is not a white supremacist nation, and America is not racist, and that there's opportunities all over the place because many of the Africans and Caribbean blacks haven't created and built opportunities in their own homeland, right? So that's the reason why they come to the Americas, right? And so, they shit on us. And now that they're getting deported, because these Caribbean blacks and these Africans, have been freeloaders, and they didn't even establish anything for themselves. They didn't contribute to increase the black quality of life here. Anytime they get a scholarship, anytime they get an award, they got their, ooh, here's my flag from Somalia, here's my flag from Haiti, here's my flag from Nigeria. They let you know that they're not African American. They don't even, some of them don't even like being called black because of the African American connotation. Right? And so, as far as African Americans are concerned, really looking at it, all these Caribbean blacks, these African blacks, they've been nothing but freeloaders. They don't contribute to black empowerment in the United States. They narrowly focus on themselves. I wouldn't even say their own communities because they don't really have communities. Not like.
Now, do I agree that there's no communities outside of Black America? No, there are communities everywhere where Black people reside. The biggest question we should ask: do Black people run and control their communities where they reside across the nation? The only place I see that a community is that they actually control is parts of Africa. And I've never been to Africa, mind you. Now I can't speak for the Caribbean because there's certain sections of the Caribbean that there's a color line, and there are certain sectors in South America where there's a color line as well. So the only place that really black people really we could say that is majority of them that do control is in the African continent. Now, if anybody want to agree or disagree, you could fight me in the chat room or in the comment section of this video if you made it this far. Let's keep going.
Example, like the Arabs in Dearborn, Michigan. The Arabs in Dearborn, Michigan, they run that shit. You know, I'll give it to the Somalis in, what is that, Milwaukee, right? They actually have I guess what you would consider, you know, a community. But when it comes to the other black people, you know, I don't know of any Haitian communities top down in Florida. You know, I don't know of any Nigerian communities, you know, in America. Right? Y'all haven't created anything that African Americans should be envious of. You have, you know, quite a bit of individual achievement, but you haven't created anything. So when you're talking about Pan-Africanism, you know, and that all the black people need to come together and form Voltron. So what if African Americans don't want to participate in that because we are perfectly aware of the level of disrespect and disdain that you have for us as African Americans to begin with? African Americans are not stopping you from doing any of the things that Neferkare claims that he wants to do. I don't even know what is his actionable plan. He doesn't have an actionable plan. It's like, I'm like, you're still talking about this? You're still talking about this. You're still talking about your Pan-Africanism. What is your Pan-Africanism plan?
Oh, you know, that's a very intriguing question. I can't speak for the brother, but I would say most people that do are on social media or on YouTube or any other media outlet. Usually, the end goal is to make as much money possible and to really send for information that is not known for the general public through deep research. I think that was Neferkare Dessalines' long-term plan, roughly. But I can't speak for the brother, but I think I would assume that would be the long-term plan. Let's keep going. Fairies.
What intercontinental networks do you have or you created? Or are you just like a news channel where you just report back, ooh, they're doing this in Ghana, and ooh, they're doing this in this country or that country, you know, which is fine, but I don't see any actionable plan. I don't see anything that African Americans should be envious of that the Pan-Africanists, right, excluding African Americans, have done. You know, like he said in his video, you know, we need to overpower the, you know, Tariq Nasheeds and the Dennis Sperlings, you know, in their voice. Ignore them. So the fuck what if African Americans don't want to fuck with you? So the fuck what? Go off with your Haitians and your black people from Dominique and your black people from Ghana and your black people from Guyana and your black people from Nigeria and South Africa and Senegal and Gambia, right? Go off and form Voltron with those black people and put something together that African Americans will feel salty about being excluded from. Y'all haven't done that. Y'all have not done that. You know, so like this is why it's always goofy to us when you guys come through and talk about, oh, you know, we're doing big things, and us Africans and us Caribbeans, you know, we're out here kicking ass and this, that, and the third. Where, nigga? Where is this going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on in Burkina Faso? Like, that's what's going on in Burkina Faso, right? That's that nation. But where is this African nations, Caribbean nations coming together and forming Voltron? There's no United States of Africa. Y'all haven't even done the Caribbean Federation. If y'all didn't know, they were trying to. There was buzz a couple years back of actually having a Caribbean Federation and one currency in them. That never happened. But yet you're so focused on African Americans basically saying we're resting now. You're so focused on African Americans saying that we're, you know, We're not doing the Pan-Africanism. We're not doing the, fucking with these other people, right? Y'all done talked all the shit that you gonna talk. I don't know how many videos, whether it's Akon talking shit about African Americans, whether it's Burner Boy talking shit about African Americans, you know what I mean? Or any of these other entertainers that have hopped up on the mic, you know what I mean? Or people who don't even want to identify with black or downplay their blackness, like Tyler or some shit like that. We done seen it all. We don't see it all. Y'all get up on the mic. We're very keen to that shit. We're listening very carefully to your selection of words. And when we hear you say certain things, we go, oh. Cause we got coons in our own population. We know what Uncle Ruckus sounds like. We know the Uncle Ruckus dog whistles. And a lot of y'all so cooned out, you don't even know that you're doing it. You don't even know that you're doing it. Some of y'all, again, you have this superiority complex over African Americans. When again, the benefits of being an American, you get because African Americans fought for that shit. You know what I mean? Like, seriously speaking, like, African Americans have taken ass whoopings from white supremacy and given white supremacy that smoke. Which is why African Americans, especially black men, have that reputation where, people don't just go around picking fights with black men like that. Because they know. They know. Black people walking around, I wish a motherfucker would. We got all type of crash out statements like that. When have y'all, aside from the Haitian, revolution, but seriously speaking, when have y'all, really gotten into it with white folks like that? When have y'all really stood up and stood on business like that as Caribbean blacks and as African blacks when it actually comes to when white people accost you? The Africans, y'all still over there getting your ass whooped by the motherfucking Chinese. Biggest men on the planet getting their ass whooped foot to ass by the goddamn smallest man on the fucking planet.
All right, make sure you guys like the stream, share the stream. In regards to the Africans and the Asian man, if the Asian man is whooping African man's butt, that's a very testament of the cowardness, the no sense of standing on business. I mean, hearing stories of a lot of the Asian men that's in certain parts of Africa having a ball, fucking and knocking up African women with impunity, leaving babies. And usually, when that happens, usually certain African nations, especially the kings or the presidents, should be stepping in and start regulating that, but they have not. And my reason be because they are doing the same thing like they did during the days of the, I would say, transatlantic slavery, since the 1400s till roughly the end of the 20th century or early parts of the 21st century, which really I heard was still going on. Nothing really changed with the African nations in regards to the slavery and the exploitation of not only the men, but also a whole lot from the women and children, especially women. So I think SWP has some on to something on that one. And now let's keep going.
Planet. Motherfuckers whooping your ass and shit. And y'all only seem to actually stand up for yourselves after we called it out from secondhand embarrassment. We over here looking at the video. How the fuck did this get on the internet? And motherfuckers hitting y'all, beating y'all over the head, y'all groveling in the corner. Motherfucker done took off his belt and beating you like a little child and shit like that. But yet y'all want to stand and got your chest out, acting like you a big man and shit like that. And like we as African Americans is supposed to respect you after some shit like that. Y'all ain't putting in no work. We got dead bodies and cemeteries and black and white photos of black people being lynched. You go look at all the race riots in America. You go through all that motherfucker. You gonna find black dead bodies, and you also gonna find some dead white bodies in there. Whether we're outgunned, outnumbered, we fight back. But y'all, nah, y'all don't fight back. You know, y'all come to America and y'all always skinning and grinning. Oh, we not like them FBAs. We not like that. We not like them. You somehow you think just like the Mexicans thought that oh, it's just about hard work and personal responsibility, and I don't take no handouts, and as long as I don't do that, then they're gonna recognize that I's different. That's what y'all do. And again, we already know that that's not the case. Black Americans already went through that. They already went through my hard work and my bootstraps. You see that with the photos in the 1960s, right? You didn't see any pants sagging. You didn't even see any hood niggas. You didn't see any of that. You saw upstanding, suited and booted black people, and white people still gave black people their ass to kick. That's why that that's why in the 80s and in the 90s, that's why all the gangster rap, why black people went that route. Because the younger generation, the Gen Xers of that time, they were like, man, we ain't doing all that. Why are we going to do all that? It's not going to change how white people feel about us. It's not going to change how they treat us. And y'all come here, you get off the boat and you get off the fucking plane, and you think that if you act a certain way, if you speak a certain way, or if you behave a certain way, that these white folks are going to see you as somehow more of a human being. That's a fallacy. That's a fallacy. And so y'all always running around, you Caribbean blacks and you African blacks, y'all always running around stepping and fetching. Y'all always running around like some Sambo, trying to shine massive shoes and shit like that. And they'll use you until they don't need you anymore and then cast you aside. And then we sitting there as African Americans like we fucking told you so. So while you up there throwing us underneath the bus, skinning and grinning for them, shining for them and everything else like that, then you get your nigga wake up call. That's why I don't feel any type of way about these Haitians that are being dragged out and everything. I done seen enough Haitians talk sideways about African Americans. I do not care. I do not care. It's sad. It's unfortunate. You know what I mean? I've worked with Haitians. I've treated Haitians. I have the utmost respect for the Haitian Revolution, but at the end of the day, I know that y'all a bunch of shines, man. A lot of y'all are a bunch of shines. You know what I mean? I act like y'all gonna go out here and fight white supremacy, and your son comes home with some dreads, and you're bitching like as though now all of a sudden he's worshiping Satan. He's got earrings in his ear. Oh, that's African American shit. Oh, you trying to be a nigga. You trying to be an African American. Oh, right? Just coon shit. That's what y'all do. Right? Let an African dude try to grow his hair out. You know what I mean? And the parents, they wailing. Oh, there's a problem. There's a problem. Then when he shaves his head, oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, thank you, Jesus. My son is, oh, thank you, my son has come back. Y'all, coon shit. You haven't even embraced your own African identity. And we see that. We used to think like we could come to you as the black diaspora as African Americans. We thinking we the ones that are stripped of our identity and culture. And then we think that we go to you that we're gonna gain some Afro magic that we lost, some spirituality, that we didn't have or something. But then what we discovered is y'all been, in many regards, worse colonized than we have. Y'all are more Negropeans than we are.
Well, there's some that Mr. Black always said that now for the last maybe 40 years, we even go as far as maybe almost 50 years, the immigrant blacks say they are allowed to come here from their own merit, that come through some form of privilege, or they say the money to come up here to become American citizens here. These are roughly, overall, allegedly, the watered down versions of the blacks of their homeland, the chucking and jiving, the yes master, yes sir, ones that are now here as American citizens in America now. Because if you guys remember, before 1961, most people that were either first generation American or came from another country, a lot of them have different mindset of what they want to do in America, and was not really taking no bullshit from white people here in America. It changed after. I would say it changed after the 70s. And this is just what I am, don't quote me, guessing. Because there was always a definite time when you see these different type of Negroes here. And it's hard to pinpoint what year these niggas come from. So that's my background I'm going to lay out for y'all. But you got to do your own substance, your own analysis, and do your own thinking and little digging research on this phenomenon of these type of blacks that have a problem with Foundation Black Americans, FDA, personally. So let's go.
And it's disheartening. It's disheartening. You know what I mean? So when y'all sitting there talking about, Pan-Africanism, it's like, nigga, please. And then on top of that, y'all ain't never come to the rescue when it comes to us. Y'all ain't never come to the rescue, when it comes to us. When it comes to the it's like the shit that going on with these damn Mexicans and whatnot. Oh, you're next, and all this other bullshit that they're saying. Black Americans have been dealing with white people in this country since 1619. We know who the fuck they are. We know what they're about. We know their fucking pathologies. We know their limitations. Okay? We've been dealing with them since forever. And this like this idea that we need y'all help or some shit like that. We didn't need your help in the 1600s. We didn't need your help in the 1700s. We didn't need your help in the 1800s. We didn't need your help in the 1900s. We didn't need your help in the 20th century. We didn't need your help in the 21st century. We didn't need your help. Every incident in this country of black people having to deal with white supremacy, the purgings of our community, you know what I mean? The race riots, whatever you want to call it. We dealt with that shit ourselves. That's why African Americans ain't scared. That's why they ain't scared. All this shit. Black people, you next. Oh, African Americans, you coming from the Mexicans and shit. Like, nigga, we been dealt with that shit. We been dealt with that. If you want to talk about the what do you call it, the spirit of trauma that African Americans have been through. Many of us, we wish for there to be an incident just to justify crashing the fuck out. We wish for that shit, all the built up, freaking racial microaggressions and white supremacy that we've been dealing with our entire lives, even just within our lifetime. Then on top of that, plus the compounded interest of what we knew that fucking our parents went through and our grandparents went through. You know what I mean? If I ever get into it with a white supremacist, I guarantee you there's going to be a tiger uppercut in there for my mother, who was told that she had to buy any jacket that she had to wear at motherfucking Macy's because of the idea that her as a little black girl had nigga cooties. Whoever that white supremacist is, he's going to get an extra 1-2 combo just because of that. Oh, I'm down. Oh, well, what'd you hit me for again? Just because, nigga. Just motherfucking because. That one's for my mother. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying y'all have not demonstrated that shit in forever. In forever. I watch you all do that. I watch y'all with y'all broken accents anytime y'all get.
Wait. I gotta rewind that back. Well, not rewind it back. Did Sergeant WP say that he's gonna give these so-called WMs or WS a what? A tiger uppercut? Really? Let's see that. You gonna give him a what? Oh God, he about to give him that, and he's gonna do that again. Oh, y'all guys can hear it. That's some. Hold on, I got you. Y'all didn't hear it. I apologize. That's why I tested, make sure that junk was there. He about to give them one of these
Tiger uppercut.
and gonna give him one more of that again.
Tiger uppercut.
And when he's done with the WS, he about to give him one hell of a
Tiger uppercut.
All right. Yeah, I get the point. Back to the film. Very serious.
Get confronted by the motherfucking police. Anytime you get confronted by another white person addressing you, I watch you all kowtow and step and fetch. I watch y'all stutter. I watch y'all be nervous. Okay, I watch your elevated heart rate. You start sweating. Your little beads on your forehead start showing up. That's y'all niggas. That's y'all. And y'all got the audacity to sit here and talk about or even insinuate that somehow we need y'all in these streets. No, the fuck we do not. No, the fuck we do not. You know, the minute one of these ICE agents run ups on one of these YNs, please. I already know somebody's gonna get hit with a switch. I already know it. If they even remotely tried it with these vague definitions of who they want to deport and everything, I'm like, ooh, I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Nah, y'all still got like that African Caribbean, the white man is God syndrome in your mind. You know what I'm saying? I've been there. I seen it. I seen how y'all behave in the Caribbean and shit. When you go to the resort and the tourist shit, you know what I mean? You be a black guest, you in the hotel, you know what I mean? You trying to get a drink and everything. They act like they don't see you. But when it comes to the white folks, they be bending over backwards. Oh, yes, boss. Oh, yes, massa. You know what I mean? And then y'all try to act like that ain't how y'all really are. I seen it. I done witnessed it. Like, damn, can I get some service? Let some African Americans tell you their stories about going on vacation to all different various islands in the Caribbean. That even the Caribbeans have anti-blackness in their minds, acting like the white man's ice is colder. You know, I only saw one taxi driver actually stand up to a white person in the Caribbean. And it was because he snapped at him because he was just like, nah, y'all motherfuckers come over here and you act like y'all own the place. Y'all can get the fuck out. I was proud of him. I was proud because basically it was a white guy. We were waiting for food and the white guy cut the line. I was behind the white guy, but the white guy had tried to cut the line. And the black dude wasn't having it. But that was a rare occurrence. Because most of the time, they always kowtowing and stepping and fetching. So when y'all talk about, we Pan-Africanist and we putting in that work and all this other, I'm like, where? Show me a victory. Show me where y'all have really stood up on business collectively. Again, what is going on in Burkina Faso? That is within that nation. But show me these transatlantic connections where y'all are circumventing the system of white supremacy to put some shit together like BRICS or anything else. Y'all ain't doing that shit. Y'all are not doing that shit. You know, so I'm just saying, like, you know, y'all need to hear this, man. Because y'all out here talking crazy, talking about shit that you haven't even done. You know, talking like as though, and what really gets me is y'all ain't ready for a fight. And I know you're not ready for a fight because y'all haven't recognized that if you really go out here and try to empower yourselves, how much these white folks will literally sabotage you. Many of you, and not only sabotage you to the point that they will kill you. African Americans have already dealt with that. We had thriving black communities. They burnt the black communities down and ran highways through them. Black Americans already dealt with that. That's one of the things that y'all don't even factor in when you come over here and you start talking shit about where African Americans are today. You don't know anything about redlining. You don't know anything about blockbusting, Jim Crow, eminent domain, urban renewal, convict leasing, debt peonage, COINTELPRO, CIA, Iran Contras, 1994 crime bill, crack cocaine disparities, denial of the Homestead Act, denial of Social Security for the first 20 years, denial of FHA loans, denial of the GI Bill, despite going off and fighting America's wars. Y'all don't know nothing about that shit. Y'all just come over here, get off the plane, get off the boat, talking about African Americans are lazy.
And the trickiest thing about this is not only most foreign blacks don't care. Don't hear about it, or really, personally, they don't care because they're here to gain some money, and if everything plays right for them, they'll spend maybe 20 years at best, maybe more than 20 years, and eventually they might take the money back home and live a comfortable retirement back in the home country. Unlike people that are as foundation Americans, FBA or ADOS, you cannot do that because this is your homeland, as racist as this. So that's why you'll see a lot of people that are first-time Americans or just came here for as kids, or their parents came here for a better opportunity. You know, they don't really care what's the fight or struggle here of blacks in America, and don't care personally. And it's sad, but it's all true. All right, let's keep going.
And then you wonder why we don't fuck with you like that. You wonder why we don't fuck with you like that. And then you come here, nigga only been here for 15 minutes off the fucking plane and going to tell me more about these white supremacists than I know. Going to tell, I'm sorry, let me sit down on the couch since you from Nigeria seem to know so much about how these white folks get down. Go ahead and break it down for me. Go ahead and tell me, since you know so much. When you grew up in your village where there was no black people, no white people, and there was nothing but black police officers, black judges, black business people, black pastors, and so on and so forth up the chain of the societal hierarchy. So you don't know nothing about white people but what you see on TV, and then you get here and you just skinning and grinning. Just like freaking Patrice O'Neal when he made that joke, oh, the white man. That's what y'all do. So I don't want to hear like I'm making this video and then it is what it is. I don't really care about y'all responding and trying to defend yourself, trying to cry and whine and fuss and poo-poo on African. Don't care because we already know what time it is. I treat y'all like I treat white supremacists that want to deny the system of white supremacy. I'm like, motherfucker, I already know what it is. I ain't going to sit here and bump gums with you. Same thing I talk about when I talk about the feminists. I'm like, I already know what you want. You want male responsibility devoid of leadership. I don't need to sit here and argue with you about that. I already know what time it is. This is what comes with age and maturity and having, millions of these fucking conversations. You already know what time it is. You already know what time. I'm not going to sit here and bump gums with you. For what? I already know what time it is. Y'all have not come together and formed anything, that African Americans should be like, feel some type of way and be like, oh, damn. We've been trying to figure out why you haven't, because unlike you all actually have your own land and sovereignty and shit. We don't have that. We ain't never had that. You know what I mean? We can't even go and put a black town together without them fucking with us, because we live inside America. But y'all got your own land. You got your own infrastructure. You know what I mean? Like you got your own parliament. You can sit there and make a decision and shit. Right? Like we don't even get to engage in the level of corruption that y'all engage in your own country. Like, how the fuck do y'all let that shit happen? You got one motherfucker that just, he just going to vacuum up all the country's resources, and you just, it is what it is. So you can give the French that smoke. You can give the system of white supremacy that smoke, but you can't give those within your own country that smoke. Those within your own government, those who you know best. You can't give them that smoke. You see? So, while we got a whole bunch of problems, you all are not in any position to talk shit about, what's going on with us and what problems we have, as though you don't have any problems when you flee and you left. So, that's just how I feel about it. I hate to sit here and slam you all, because I have my own Pan-African, tendencies and shit like that. But, like Neferkare, I'm just like, there's nothing stopping you from going off and picking whatever 5 African countries, 5 Caribbean countries that you want to pick and go work with those people. It gets to a point where it's like, it starts looking like you just want to argue with Dennis, because arguing with Dennis gets your views up and it gets the likes and the clicks and all that other shit. And so you get more engagement. And so that's why, you do it. And that's why, but you're not really about, what you say that you about. And again, I'm not saying this from a position of hatred. I'm saying this from a position of love. I'm like, we got enough to deal with here as African Americans. We got enough to deal with. And, it's going to be a bumpy next 4 years. And so with, Trump in office and all that and all the shit that he's trying to do, we got to be on our toes. We got to focus on, what our politics are and whether we're going to, continue to withdraw from politics, or whether we're going to vote Democrat, when they engage in benign neglect, whether we're going to join or form a new coalition or a new party. That's what we're focused on. We are not in any position to run around here and help anybody else when our main issues have not been addressed in this country. So I'm like, again, according to y'all, do not date the akata, right? According to y'all, when it comes to us, we're no good anyway. Okay, so why the fuck do you care if we want to delineate? What the fuck does it matter to you if we want to separate and we don't want to participate? Y'all already separate yourselves. You know what I mean? It's all like, I swear, it's like y'all are just as bad as white supremacy. The white people always, we don't want niggas here. No, you can't come in this bar. And, they want to keep it, segregated and shit like that. Then when we go off in our corner and we not fucking with them and we doing our own shit, guess who's showing up? Like the vampires and sinners and shit. Guess who's always trying to get into our spot? Right? Don't like black people, hate niggas, all this other type of stuff. Oh, what you doing over there? Oh, what's on your plate? What's going on? What's going on with you? Then when you say, hey man, like, go back to your corner. Reverse racism. This is reverse racism. See, you're just as racist as you claim that we are as white people. Reverse racism. Oh my God. And y'all do the same thing. Y'all don't fuck with us. Oh, you African Americans are lazy. Oh, you African Americans are beneath us. Oh, you African Americans. I came here from Nigeria and I got a scholarship and I'm the doctor now and I'm this and I'm that. Okay, fine, cool. Okay? And that's what y'all say. But then as soon as we get into delineation, FBA, oh, brother, why are you being divisive, brother? Why are you being divisive? Why are you divide us? It's like, oh, come on, man. Really? For real? Same thing with the damn ADOS, any of that shit. Why are you dividing us? It's like y'all sound like a light-skinned bitch right now. Because they do the same thing. Oh, I like my light skin privilege. Ooh, I like a dark skinned man. Ooh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, come on here, dark skinned sisters. Let's go hang out together. Da, 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 right? Using their light skin to elevate themselves over dark skinned women, right? And then when people start talking about reorganizing the race, then all of a sudden, we come in all shades and colors, and now they want to, again, the Umar Johnson bullshit, and to my biracial sisters, you are African until proven otherwise.
Do you agree or disagree with this so far? This part of the portion of the video is almost done. We got two more on the deck. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It is SW versus Neferkare. Intense ideology. I think he actually laid out his claim so far in this video. But what y'all think? Let's continue.
All that bullshit. People want to delineate for reasons, for valid reasons. When people start recognizing, oh, like you don't fuck with us anyway. You only here for the benefits. You only here for what you can get out of the situation. But when it comes down to it, when it's time to ride or die, you ain't really with it. You ain't really with the shit. I mean, it reminds me of that Miss Angola on BK Chat. That chick that was half Portuguese, half Angolan, and she was up there. She had her Afrocentric earrings, and she was all pro blackety black back, straight out of Angola. She had her straight out of Angola t-shirt with her Cardi B high yellow looking ass. And then when they did the freaking, it was like, like the end of the season where they come back and they sit up on the panel. She put on this straight long weave. She had this white Marilyn Monroe dress on. She was trying to look as not African as possible. And that shit stuck out to me as a sore thumb. I was like, nah, what happened to all your teased hair, trying to make your hair as big as you want it to be with your in the shape of Africa earrings? What happened to that shit? It went out the door as soon as it came to glamour time. Then glamour time, she went right to the very safe and comfortable Eurocentric standard of beauty that she knew that she fit more into than the other dark-skinned African women that were on the fucking panel. That's the type of shit that has us as African Americans looking at y'all Africans, and I'm talking about all African. I'm not just talking about Nigerians or anything like that. I'm talking about all Africans and Caribbean blacks. That's what has us looking at y'all sideways. Because y'all ain't really down for the cause. You ain't down for shit. You only come around when it's fucking convenient. And it's like, how many times do you think that we're going to watch you do that and then tolerate that and not call you out on it and not draw the line in the sand? You know what I'm saying? That ship on African Americans and Pan-Africanism, that ship has sailed for a lot of people. Now, there's still black people that they want to be, Afrocentric and, they Pan-Africanists and everything else. Hey, I'm not stopping them. There's no blockade. You want to go over there? Go over there. But as you can see, when you go online and you look at these African Americans that took their ass back over to Africa and tried to live in Africa, they're making videos now talking about how horrible their experience was. Talking about how people are trying to exploit them and people are trying to scam them every 2 seconds and just how fucked up it is. So,
in my opinion, I think that is our fault as black people in America that decide to go back to the motherland. You're not reading and catching game with other people that's part of that land. Most of them, unfortunately, grew up in poverty, and they will exploit your black ass if you're down there and they know you're not from the land. Because in their mind, we are in America or anywhere, even Europe, the more richest, prosperous within the group, because we make what we call the United States dollar. We make money in America and we take back money from America to their country, which is double, tenfold, or triple or 5 times the fold. So it makes sense. If you don't understand how people are starving and hungry, they will take advantage of you and even go as far as exploit you if needed for the survival. It's not always about brotherhood. We are all one. No, they will exploit you because you got more than them. It's that simple. That's our fault. Going to another country, especially Africa, and no, the poverty rate is so high. Now, if you don't know nobody you can trust in America that's from Africa, personally, I would not invest my money into another foreign land unless I make real relationships with certain people to entrust my hard-earned money in that country. I just won't do it. That's not intelligent. Well, let's keep going. Come on, end this video so I can move on to the next video. Let's go phrase.
I'm just saying, like y'all gotta, like, if you want to talk the level of shit that you want to talk, y'all need to put something, you non-FBA black people, the globe over, you need to put some shit together that makes us envious of what you got going on. Right now, that hasn't happened. Right now, you coming into America and trying to reap the benefits that African Americans had to fucking fight for in order to get. And then you just show up and you ain't trying to contribute and you ain't putting in none of the work. You ain't shedding no blood. You ain't shedding no sweat or tears. None of that shit. You just come and you show up and then you want to represent for your own nation, state, or whatever. Like these Mexicans that, oh, I want to stay in America. Why the fuck are you waving a Mexican flag then? That's y'all. Y'all are no different than that shit. Y'all got y'all flags on your profiles on Instagram and everything else like that. You ain't really trying to be a part of the African American environment and situation. You're not. You're not out here trying to school African Americans and put them on game of the knowledge that you do have. Like, hey, we come from a merchant class. We're a part of the Igbo tribe, and that's what we do. And let us put you on game about how you do this. And y'all ain't sharing secrets. No. Y'all running around. Do not date the akata. That's what y'all do. So, we don't feel any type, like all this crying that y'all doing online. We don't give a fuck. Just as much as we don't give a fuck about these damn the Mexicans crying online. Ayúdame, papi, ayúdame. No. That doesn't mean that we don't want to see you be successful in your own country, on your own terms, and give two middle fingers up to the system of white supremacy or the supremacy of any other group. That doesn't mean that we aren't proud of you when you pull out a win or pull out a victory. But right now, we're focused on us. And that's just all that there is to it. If that makes you feel some type of way, well then feel some type of way. My whole thing to Neferkare is I'm like, well, why don't you just focus on the Afrocentrist and stop crying about whether Dennis Sperling or whether Tariq Nasheed are telling African Americans not to deal with y'all. This is not just those two individuals that have been feeling some type of way about, the undermined. This has been going on for a while online. This has been going on for a while. And again, all the receipts, the videos, the little interviews and shit like that, where y'all come out and say, just something out of pocket. I don't even watch Akon interviews because I already know he's always going to say something out of pocket about African Americans. You know what I mean? And y'all don't even understand how much, a lot of times, you all sound like white supremacists. You all sound just like them. And you don't even realize it. You don't even realize what you said is fucked up until you get the backlash later on. Then you sitting there, oh, I didn't mean it that way. Then you going off and trying to, backpedal because, especially for those that are in the entertainment industry, is fucking up your money. So I don't know what else to say about it. But I'm like, African Americans are resting right now. We're not getting involved in anybody else's shit. You know what I mean? We might cheer from the background. Like, ooh, that's a win for Burkina Faso. But you know, when it comes to y'all going off and forming Voltron, however you want to do, with whatever other members of the black diaspora you want to form Voltron with, as long as it doesn't as long as it doesn't involve us, you know what I mean? We ain't trying to create some sort of blockade to prevent you from doing that. And what y'all need to do is stop pretending like as though us as African Americans are in the way of you doing that simply because we're saying we're not going to participate. That is a sign of weakness, and that is a sign of inaction. You know, it's like when I go and I criticize, black women and whatnot. I'm like, they're not stopping black men from going into a neighborhood and setting up shop. They're not stopping. There's no blockade. If I go, I'm gonna go to the bank and I'm gonna put down, $10,000 with this brother and open up a bodega in my own black community. There ain't no black women forming a blockade around that. There's other shit that they can do in terms of how they raise the boys and shit like that. But my point is, there's no fucking blockade. They're not standing in front of the building stopping us from doing that. And there's no FBAs creating a blockade around Neferkare or Haiti or fucking Africa and any other country in Africa preventing those two forces from coming together. We're not interfering with you like that. So stop acting like because African Americans are talking to themselves about not getting involved and how we need to focus on us and put our energy towards us, that's somehow preventing you from going off and forming Voltron. Stop it. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all for now.
All right, that's the end of this video. Now we're going to hear from Dessalines' response to SWP. Let's go.
Video. I'm going to be responding to a fellow content creator who goes by the name of Sergeant WilliePete. Now, I've heard the name. I'll be honest, I'm not very familiar with the content, but just from scanning his channel, I believe this is, I kind of get Manosphere vibes from the brother. And, back in those days, back in the 2010s, a few years back, when the Manosphere was actually hot. Now, the Manosphere is dead and buried.
No, the Manosphere did not came around in 2010. It actually really surfaced, the Black Manosphere, the official Black Manosphere, if you want to go there, in 2015, now a decade ago. So in regards to all relevance of any signs of Manasterian in nature, you've seen clips of just men doing content since the inception of YouTube. And I would say most of their content really didn't come around to like 2008 and 2009, between those 2 years. So we're talking about Manosphere, been hot for more than 15 years. That's false. It's actually trending, the Black Manosphere, and it's really still on an upward trend now for the last 10 years. So it's not really dead, to be honest. I would be honest to say things might be dead, but no. Things are going strong. And actually, the message is really pushed to the point now that it might be almost at an apex, but it still has not reached that upper apex yet. Well, it's coming. It's coming. So I just want to correct that. Let's go.
Rest in peace. But back when the Manosphere was actually hot, back in those days, I was watching, various spaces and sectors on YouTube before I decided to pick up the microphone myself. And nothing against the Manosphere, but I just never really fit into the whole Manosphere thing. I never really could fit into it. I felt like guys like myself who shared my sentiments and, my mentality, we didn't really fit into the whole Manosphere thing. And that's what kind of inspired me to make my own channel, to carve out my own space. But anyways, this video was brought to my attention by an audience member of the channel and said that he made a video about me. Now, I watched the whole video. Now, the vast majority of the video wasn't even really about me or addressing, things I said and responding directly to me. It seemed like the brother wanted to just vent and get a few things off his chest. He didn't really address me directly in terms of, responding, okay, you said this, and I'm going to directly respond with this. It just seemed like it was a stream of consciousness, and I guess I was just used as the launch pad to open the discussion, which is fine. But I'm going to respond and give my thoughts and opinions. So, not wasting no time, let's get into it.
Way too personal, and Neferkare, in my opinion, is the one that got personal, going into calling Dennis, a failed lawyer and all this other shit. Yeah, that's personal shit.
All right, we back. Now, I guess one of his issues with me is I guess he's a fan of Dennis Sperling. And obviously, I'm currently involved in a legal dispute with Dennis Sperling. He filed a lawsuit against me due to one of my videos. And he basically justifies the lawsuit saying that I got personal, so therefore it's justified to bring me to court. Well, Dennis Sperling is just one of many individuals who I made videos about criticizing. I spoke about heads of state. I spoke about diplomats. I've spoken about 4-star U.S. generals. I've spoken about, very high-ranking men. Just the other day, I spoke about one of the high-ranking officials in the Kenyan government. I flamed him, destroyed him, right? One of my most fiery videos against one of the politicians in the administration of William Ruto in Kenya, right? So, and just last night, I dropped a video against the French Prime Minister and Emmanuel Macron's government. So, Dennis Sperling is just one individual of a long list of men who I've taken issue with on my channel, right? I don't hide from nobody. I spoke about Anthony Blinken on my channel while he was in office, right? While Anthony Blinken was in office, I made videos criticizing Anthony Blinken. So, and that was the Secretary of State. So if that's the case, then goddamn, everybody filed a lawsuit. I've even spoken about Bernard Arnault, the former director of the DGSE, which is the French equivalent of the CIA, right? And I clowned him because he lost his job. He got fired due to France's failure in their foreign policy in regards to Africa, right? He got fired by Emmanuel Macron, and I made a video flaming him as well. So Dennis Sperling is just one individual out of a long list of individuals who I've spoken about. So, and when I speak about anybody, it's always in defense of my people. It's always in defense of our collective, our global collective. So for you to justify Dennis Sperling lawsuit against me, then, Bernard Arnault might as well file a lawsuit. Alassane Ouattara, the president of Ivory Coast, he might as well file a lawsuit, right? The Kenyan politician.
A lawsuit, and in my opinion, men should not really be suing each other unless someone was very harmed physically, or their reputation is damaged to a point where you really are going to be losing income permanently. That's the only time maybe lawsuit me has you have the right to start suing people legally. But that I'm not really too fond of other men, especially within our group, suing each other, unless it falls on those realms of serious criteria where a lawsuit needs to occur. Let's keep going.
Who I destroyed a few days ago, he might as well file a lawsuit, right? President Tinubu of Nigeria, he might as well file a lawsuit. You feel me? Macky Sall, the former president of Senegal, he might as well file a lawsuit, right? All of these individuals who are of higher status than Dennis Sperling, I've spoken out against with no fear, right? So, like I said, to make it seem like, oh man, when it came to Dennis Sperling, all of a sudden he's off limits, right? That just goes to show, brother, you're simply a fan of Dennis Sperling, and that's fine. Just say that. Just say, I'm a fan of Dennis Sperling, I'm a fanboy, and I don't like that you were talking about somebody that I look up to and I admire. Just say that, bro. Just say that. Because if you didn't say anything when I spoke about Bernard Arnault, the former director of French intelligence, when you didn't say anything when I spoke about the Kenyan politicians or Alassane Ouattara, the president of Ivory Coast, or Bola Tinubu, the president of Nigeria, right? If you didn't say anything when I spoke about the South Africans, the black South Africans, if you didn't say anything when I spoke about the political leadership in Algeria, right? I speak about a lot of individuals, but you drew the line at Dennis Sperling. Bro, just say you are a fan of Dennis Sperling, and that's okay, brother. I understand. I get it. Just say I'm a fan of Dennis Sperling. Don't try to say that, oh, man, it's just too personal. When it comes to Dennis Sperling, it's too personal. Bro, I talk about individuals who are the heads of governments. Bro, please stop. Please stop, bro. Please stop making it seem like a random lawyer from Texas, man, he's off limits, man. Don't talk about that. Meanwhile, you don't understand. My video was a reaction to what he said. He said, I want to bring a lawsuit and attack the African continent. So I responded as a defender of the African continent. But all of a sudden, when it comes to you, oh, brother, too personal, too personal, too personal. I speak about anybody that comes against our global collective, brother. It don't matter who it is. Black man, white man, it don't matter who it is. If you come against our global collective, I'm going to come with the big boot, the big Timberland boot, and I'm going to stomp on your dumb ass. And that's what it is. I don't care what tribe you come from. I don't care what country you come from. I don't care what city and state you come from. I don't care what position of government you occupy. If you stand in opposition to our global collective and our collective interests, I'm going to come at you. And I'm going to come at you with 100 miles per hour force. So to be honest, brother, that whole argument is stupid. That whole argument is weak, right? That whole argument is weak. Just stop it, man. Just stop it. Stop trying to carry water for another man. You mean to tell me somebody can go on record saying that he wants to economically destabilize the African continent, but if I respond, brother, it's too personal. It's too personal, brother. It's too personal. Just the other day, I said the Kenyan government is full of failed leaders. So you mean to tell me they're within their rights to go bring a lawsuit against me, you would support that? That's why I say, man, Sambos, man, Sambos. All this energy towards the fellow black man. Oh, yeah, it's justified to bring the black man to court. But like I said, over 100 U.S. politicians have family links to slavery. Ain't none of y'all bringing them to court. Ain't none of y'all trying to find out where they live. Ain't none of y'all trying to get that money back. But when it comes to Neferkare Dessalines, yeah, I understand why he's being sued, right? I understand. Like I said, Sambo movement, right? Trying to disguise your Sambo nature under pro-blackness and patriotism. That's what this movement is about. A bunch of Sambos trying to masquerade as honorable black men. Even when you go in the comment section, right? I seen this one dude came into the comment section. He said this, right? Neferkare deserves to get sued. He slandered Dennis Sperling and he knows the law. Neferkare lied on him and he needs to learn that you cannot keep lying and trying to trash people you don't agree with like that, especially a lawyer. Now he's trying to explain it away to try to get Dennis Sperling to drop the lawsuit. Hell no, right? So Neferkare deserves to get sued, right? Because you can't talk trash about people. You can't talk trash about people. Yeah, okay. See, like I said, man, now I may actually do a video, going back to those 100 politicians that have family links to slavery. I might go do a video and go through each politician so I can give you guys the database to show you who you need to bring to court, right? I know you ain't gonna do nothing with it. I know you're not gonna actually confront these individuals, right? I know you're not, but I might make that video regardless, and I might even tag you in it. I might tag, Dennis in, I might tag Tariq in it. I might tag all you individuals in it to give you guys, the individuals who got all the slave money, right? To see if you actually, honorable black men, courageous black men, if you got the testicular fortitude to confront the descendants of your adversaries, right? The descendants of your mortal enemies still spending the slave money. I'm going to see if you guys have what it takes to confront these individuals and get that money back. Now, when it comes to Neferkare Dessalines, I don't have no problem confronting anybody. I'll smash on a head of state. I'll smash on a U.S. general. I don't give a goddamn. I'll smash on anybody. Y'all don't got the same courage. Y'all don't got the same energy, right? When I go to your channels, y'all ain't talking about the adversary. Y'all ain't smashing on the enemy. Bunch of cowards. Anyway, let's continue.
I'm listening to Neferkare, and I've seen the titles of his videos. I'm subscribed to him. I'm watching stuff come up. I started listening to him more once the Carmelo Anthony case, started kicking off, and how he was defending him, and solid arguments. Big supporter of that.
All right, we back. Now, this brother said that he came across my channel during the whole Carmelo Anthony situation, right? If you remember the Carmelo Anthony situation, I was definitely very vocal during that whole fiasco because I seen where it was going, and I saw that it was pretty much a propaganda campaign against black men at large. And of course, like I said before, I don't shy away from anything, right? I was on the front line defending the young brother, right? Because I seen myself in the young brother, right? Brother came from a good home, father at home, father working hard, got a good job, you know what I mean? Taking care of business, living in a good home, nice school district, playing sports. When I seen Carmelo, I seen myself, right? I seen myself, right? So, and I seen that they were trying to take that situation and turn it to a propaganda piece and try to demonize and villainize black men at large. So, of course, I was on the front line defending my people, as I always do. Right. But you don't got to worry about that no more, brother. Those videos, I deleted those videos, threw them videos in the trash. Right. So, I'm cool. I'm cool, man. Y'all got it. Y'all got it. Right. Clearly, you and Dennis and all them guys, y'all can get on the front line and do your thing. Right. I'll be over here. I'll be over here doing my thing. I'm not about to be on the front line stomping for my people. Right. Stomping for the collective. And those same individuals turn around, try to bring me to court for hundreds of thousands of dollars, trying to file a lawsuit against me. Y'all got it, man. Y'all got it. Because I know for a fact the African would never do me like that. Even the white man wouldn't even do me like that, right? Even the white man, all the stuff that I speak on this channel, even the white man wouldn't come and bring me to court for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? Emmanuel Macron, I've been smashing on Macron for years. Macron ain't gonna bring me to court, right? Even the Africans wouldn't bring me to court. I guarantee Alassane Ouattara wouldn't even bring me to court. If he watched my videos, he would be like, man, listen, I'm Alassane Ouattara, head of state of Ivory Coast, baby. I do my thing. Like, I don't care about the little YouTuber, right? Even the Africans wouldn't bring me to court, right? But after that lawsuit, man, y'all got it, bro. Y'all got it. Y'all will never see me on the front lines for nothing. Y'all got it. Y'all delineating. Y'all got it. Threw them videos in the garbage can. Now, if anybody wants a link to those videos, because they were classics. They were classics. Some of my best work, right? So if you do want a link to those videos, you can hit me on the email, but
Yeah, I remember those videos about Kamala Anthony. Yeah, they were good. They were good. Too bad the brother took him down, but it is what it is. See, I do what I do. Life moves on. Let's go.
besides that, nah, I'm cool. Y'all got it, man. Y'all got it. It's bigger and better things happening. France going broke. France, the French economy crashing and burning. That's way more interesting. Let's continue.
Most African Americans had a philosophy of Pan-Africanism before most other black people.
Now, listen, I have way too many videos on my channel, debunking that, like I said, right? When Dessalines established his government in 1805 in the Constitution, right? That Pan-African document, that was a document crafted in Pan-Africanist ideology. That was 1805. The vast majority of black men during that time were still on the fields, right? When Christophe established his government in 1807, 1811, when Christophe was going around attacking the European slave ships, rescuing enslaved Africans off the slave ships and giving them citizenship, like I said, the vast majority of black men were in chains, right? So this whole, we were the first Pan-Africanists. When you look at who was involved in organizing the first ever Pan-African conference in 1900, yes, of course, there were men invited like W.E.B. Du Bois, but that was a Caribbean affair. Antonin Furman, Henry Sylvester Williams, Benito Sylvain, et cetera, et cetera. That was the Caribbean affair, right? So at the end of the day, this ideology, we were the first Pan-Africanists. We created Pan-Africanism. That's not true. That's not true. Dessalines was the first Pan-Africanist in this hemisphere who established a government when the vast majority of black men were still in chains getting beat. So stop with this, we invented Pan-Africanism. Please stop. Please stop, right? I've already did this knowledge on my channel. We spoke about Prince Saunders. We spoke about the various Latin American countries that were liberated because of the Haitian military assistance. We spoke about the Samana Americans, the African Americans who immigrated to the Dominican Republic when it was under Haitian occupation, right? The reason why they did that was because they benefited from the Haitian immigration policy, which means that any black person anywhere in the world come to the country, you free, you got citizenship, right? And because I've already spoken about this so much, I'm not going to go and do the history again, but just stop. You don't have to. That's what I don't like about this movement, right? It's just like this rewriting of history, pushing fake history to push an agenda. If the movement is solid like you claim, let the movement stand on its own. You don't have to push fake history. Why so many of y'all pushing fake history? Let's continue.
But when it comes to the other black people, I don't know of any Haitian communities top down in Florida. I don't know of any Nigerian communities, in America. Right? Y'all haven't created anything that African Americans should be envious of.
All right, we back. Now, the reason why you don't see those communities is because those children tend to integrate into the broader black community in the United States, right? So the reason why you don't see little enclaves like you see different, Arab enclaves or Chinese enclaves is because those children, right, when those immigrants tend to have children, their children tend to immerse themselves into the broader black culture. They tend to, get drowned out into the broader black culture, right? So you could have somebody like Kodak Black down in Florida, right? Kodak Black, he is, he embodies the Florida culture. That's Florida culture. The gold grills, the big wigs, driving them big, them big classic American cars. That's Florida culture, right? So yeah, when you go to New York, same thing. Those children tend to immerse themselves into the broader American culture. So you're not going to see, these enclaves or these communities because they integrate, right? They integrate into the culture. Now, you guys claim that, they don't integrate, they don't rock with us. But, like I said, you guys have to push fake history, fake bullshit to push this movement, right? And then at the end, you said, you don't have anything that we should be jealous of. Brother, why is it a competition of, you think the objective is to make other black people jealous? Is that why you do what you do? Is that your objective, to make other black men jealous, right? That is that your goal in life? Oh man, I'm doing this so other black men can be jealous. That's why I say y'all are clowns, bro. Y'all are some clowns, right? Y'all are some clowns. I ain't never made my YouTube channel. Oh man, I'm about to make other black men jealous with this. Now, going back to what I said earlier, when those children, like I said, they immerse themselves, they assimilate into the broader American culture, you guys say, they're cosplaying as us. But if they did stick to themselves and do their own thing, oh man, they separated themselves from us. So like I said, you guys, like a bunch of, I don't want to disrespect the women, but this is a feminine trait. Always finding something to complain about. Always finding something to complain about, right? Brothers, you ever deal with a woman? She always finds something to complain about. You take her to a restaurant. Oh, man, I don't like this restaurant. There's no AC in this restaurant. You go to the other restaurant with the AC. Oh, it's too cold in here. Can I have your coat? Can I have your jacket? Bro, it's always something. She's always complaining. That's what I get with a lot of y'all brothers, man. It's just always something. Oh, man, they cosplaying as us when they assimilate and they integrate. But when they separate, they don't like us. They separated from us. Bro, you guys are some hoes. You guys are some females, right? You guys have feminine characteristics. That's why towards the end of that clip, you said, oh, you don't have anything that I could be jealous about, because that's what it is. It's like little, little cat fights in high school, little girls at the high school cafeteria. Oh, look at her. She thinks she the shit. Look at her, girl. Look at her. Look at her brand new purse. That's the energy, man. That's the energy. If you see another black man doing this thing, you should not see it as a competition of, oh man, we're competing, so I'm going to be jealous of him or I'm going to make him jealous. You should be like, oh man, that brother doing his thing. Shout out to you, bro. Salute to you. Respect. Respect, my brother. Respect. I'm motivated. I'm inspired. Respect. See, that's masculine characteristics. You see, me, myself, I grew up around black men who got up every day, went to work, handled their business, took care of their wife, took care of their children. So I know what it means to be a man. A lot of y'all brothers, man, feminine characteristics, man. You think life is about making other black men jealous? Wow. Clown movement, man. Clown movement. Clown movement. Like I said, manosphere, guys. This the level of mentality coming out the manosphere. That's why I never really rock with the manosphere like that. Never really got into it. Never could fit in. That's why I made my own channel to separate myself, right? For black men like myself who resonate with me, we could have our own space. Because that manosphere bullshit, Sambos, clowns. Let's continue.
That all the black people need to come together and form Voltron. So what if African Americans don't want to participate in that, because we are perfectly aware of the level of disrespect and disdain that you have for us as African Americans to begin with.
All right, we back. Now, like I said, feminine. This is a common argument that I hear a lot. Oh my God, look at what they said about us. Look at they disrespect us. I'm Haitian, man. The whole world's been talking about us like dirt for over 200 years. The entire world, even other black folks, been talking about us like dirt, right? In the Caribbean, you go to even other Caribbean nations, talk about us like dirt, right? Even our neighbors, the Dominicans, and I got some Dominican partners, even got some Dominican subscribers that love the channel, right? But we got to keep it real. Even some Dominicans talk about us like dirt. They could be as black as us, talk about us like dirt, right? The Bahamians, some of them talk about us like dirt, right? But even still, that never stopped me from being a stomp down Pan-Africanist who loves my people around the world, because I really love my people. And it doesn't matter. Nothing can really derail me off that. Like, I stand firm on that. Nothing can stop me from loving my people, bro. Like, nothing can stop me from loving my people. I do not care. I don't care. Like I said, man, if you want to talk about, oh, they disrespected us, they don't like us. If that's the case, then Haitians can use that pretext to also rage against Pan-Africanism as well. Haitians can use the same pretext to also stand against Pan-Africanism, because we received a lot of disrespect, a lot of hostile energy, a lot of animosity, not only from the dominant, so-called dominant society, but also other black folks as well, right? Due to their own ignorance and brainwashing and propaganda they've been fed about us. But even still, I never let that derail me off my course. I never let that derail me off my path and derail me off the mission to empower our people and stand firm and be on the front lines for our people, right? So if you want to talk about somebody talking down on you, somebody talking bad on you, when it comes to Haitians, we got the championship belts on that. But because I know the mission of my forefathers, because I know the mentality and I study their literature and I know what they would have wanted, right? I stand firm on what I believe in, because I know that it would make my forefathers proud. I know that if I go against Pan-Africanism, I know Dessalines gonna be looking down on me with shame and disgust. I know Christoph is gonna look down on me with shame and disgust, right? So it's not about what other black people think, right? It's about what I know to be true, what I know to be right. So at the end of the day, brother, I'll be honest, you sound very feminine. You sound very feminine, very sassy, a lot of neck rolling energy. Oh, you don't got nothing I could be jealous of. Bro, stop it, bro. Stop it, man. Stop it. That shit, stop it. If you think a black man's goal in life should be to make another black man jealous, if you think that's what it's about, then brother, we are obviously, we are on two different pages. And if that's the case, I don't want to be united with black men like you. Maybe you got me confused. I don't believe in uniting all black men. Maybe you didn't know that. I don't believe in uniting all black men. I think some of y'all is garbage. Right? I think some of y'all are really trash, right? That's why I speak against guys like Alassane Ouattara, President Bola Tinubu, William Ruto, the president of Kenya. I speak about Sambos and sellouts and shameful individuals from all parts of the world, right? And I don't want to unite with those men. I don't want to unite with you, bro. Aren't you a manosphere guy? Like, aren't you one of those guys that sit around talking about black women all day and night for years and years on your channel? That's what I'm saying. All this, patriotic bullshit y'all be talking about, man, y'all boys don't even like your own women, bro. Y'all boys don't even like your own women. That's why I don't pay attention to none of that patriotic bullshit. Some of y'all boys will sell your own women out, throw your own woman under the bus just to get close to a mulatto from Honduras or Colombia. And at the same time, raging about the immigrants, right? Meanwhile, a bunch of y'all in a bunch of third world countries chasing poom poom, running around in flip flops on Latin American beaches, chasing after a bunch of mulattoes. But then you want.
No, I would not agree with him on that note, but he has some merit that most black women, most dudes, by default, either can get or can't get, or they're not worth the relationship. They'll go outside the country to go find a woman that will, and it is what it is. And it's sad that a man should not really have to hold on. A man shouldn't have to really go outside his normal household just to find a relationship, but that's where we see things today, where it stands, unfortunately. But life moves on. My shit working? All right, let's continue.
Want to act like super patriotic black man like you Abraham Lincoln. I'm not buying that bullshit you selling. And then listen, I'm not gonna go through your whole video because it's like I said, it was just a stream of consciousness. Then you said, oh, the Africans never fought against the white supremacists, this, that, and the third. Listen, a whole bunch of nonsense that I've already debunked on my channel. I've already spoken about the many military engagements that Africans have waged against European militaries and where they smashed European militaries, right? I paid homage the other day to the rebel leader from Guadeloupe, right? So when it comes to me, I pay homage to our brothers all over the world who put numbers on the board, who put points on the board, fighting against the adversary, right? I don't ever minimize my brothers, right? See, you are pushing a bunch of fake history. On your video, he said, oh, the Africans never had any battles against the Europeans. The Africans never fought against the Europeans. Like I said, your movement is so weak that you have to create fake history in order to give your movement some legitimacy. The movement cannot stand on its own. You have to create fake history. Oh, we created Pan-Africanism. The Africans never fought nobody. We are the best. We created Pan-Africanism. You can't make us jealous. Like I said, bro, you sound like a damn hood rat. You sound like a hood rat talking with her homegirls. That's what it sounds like. You sound like a damn hood rat, rolling your neck, snapping your fingers, bro. I really don't get the vibe. Now, listen, I know you're going to sue me. I know you're going to sue me because you believe in suing people. You believe that taking other black men to court because they said something you didn't like, because you got.
I think you misconceptualized SWP. He is a content creator that speaks from his own opinion on not only the black experience, but what he sees going in this Western environment we call North America. I don't think he has any desire or any inclination to be suing anybody. He's here for content. That is all. Let's go.
Guys throw shots, and when I respond, you want to drag me to court. So I already know lawsuit coming from Sergeant WilliePete. I already know. I already know. So I get it. This is what y'all do. That's why I say y'all got it. I'm not talking about any domestic American affairs, right? I'm not speaking on nothing. I'm cool, right? I spoke about Carmelo Anthony. I stood tall for the brother because, like I said, I see myself in him. But going forward, listen, y'all got it, bro. Y'all got it. Delineate. Y'all do y'all thing. Y'all be on the front lines. I'm gonna be over here doing my thing. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkare. Dessalines, 21 Cannons, first single off the album.
And we're not really interested on music videos. But now, the final response by SWP. And we'll wrap this up. Overall, as you know, between the back and forth, and there was not really much back and forth, unfortunately. But SW had to lay it out because most people today, if you think about it, have not really shown any respect for black people in America to the point where black Americans have a point about people that's foreign blacks, either they're born or they're coming from straight from the country, of anything of respectfulness or any desire of really respecting. And I guess they could help if they can the actual struggle that foundational black Americans have in this country, so that they're not causing more havoc or problems in America for people that's already here that built America. So final video by the final response by SWP. Listen carefully. Let's go.
Keep this short because Neferkare kept his video short. I'm gonna have to address him more directly in this video than I did in the last video.
And this one's gonna be more deeper.
And I hate to say it, man, but oh God, it's like you argue like a woman, even though in your video you said I argue like a woman, or like what you do is you intentionally misconstrue the point, and then you go down like these other like paths, and it's one of my frustrations with the tether babble. Like there's a specific way that black people abroad argue versus how African Americans argue, and you did it in this video where I mean, you're talking about you addressing world leaders and elsewhere around the globe. We don't care. Nobody cares about that. Okay. There was a point in time where African Americans, had more of a Pan-Africanist attitude. But as we have been saying, you all came to America, you come into the environment, and then you side with white supremacy. Not you, but the tether class. Not all of the black diaspora, but enough to where it's noticeable. Okay? Do not come on here downplaying that and pretending like that's not going on, or as though that we can't see that. It's no different than what white supremacy does when we say, hey, this is racist, and then they say, oh, no, it's not. And it's like, we can blatantly see it. Him like rambling on about Pan-Africanism, and I address this person, I address that person, and that's not the point. The point is, and I'm not saying I agree with Dennis and him suing you and all that. I've had my own issues with Dennis, in the past. I got my issues with him being Christian and being super religious and always trying to bring that into the discussion. Okay. And all his like old school concepts of manhood. Like, there's areas where we agree and there's areas where we disagree. Okay. But you Neferkare, you tend to go personal. Okay. And you did it in this video. You start going into they act like a girl, or, and you like intentionally misconstrue things. And then you try to make a character assassination about what you literally intentionally misconstrued. Like, and it's like, I don't even know how to really respond to that, because I'm like, okay, this is a waste of time, man. Cause you're not trying, like, it's like you're trying to like tap dance and entertain your audience and like, stand there with your hands on your hip like I am awesome, when it's like, that's not the point. The fact of the matter is should there be infighting between the FBA population and the black diaspora? No, there shouldn't be. Right? There shouldn't be. When it comes to Dennis and him wanting to, sue Africa for those that participated in the slave trade, that's debatable, because many of those countries, I've already gone through the history. It was coercion. They would do things like give guns to other tribes, and if you didn't participate in the slave trade, then that other tribe would take you over, or they would abduct family members, or they would threaten to replace you with another leader if you didn't participate, if you didn't give them enough black bodies, right? There were many African leaders that fought back against, the slave trade. Badu Bansu II was one of them. He got into it with the Dutch, killed 2 Dutch soldiers, and, they ended up capturing him, hung him, decapitated, and then had his body in a fermented jar in Belgium, I think, for up until like 2009, when his head was returned, back to, I believe it was Ghana. Right? Then you got Queen Azinga. Like, there's all different type of people. The Ethiopian, what was his name? It wasn't Menelik II. Who was it? It was one of the Ethiopian kings who committed suicide, and then they abducted his child and took the child to London, and then the child died at 18 of some sickness, and then they still won't return the body. All type of shit. It's all type of coercive shit that the Europeans are doing. So, I wax and wane about what African nations and who should pay African Americans reparations if African Americans or FBAs are going to run around screaming that everybody owes them reparation. Ghana has already acknowledged this as much. You know what I mean? And with their whole thing, with giving African American FBAs asylum, where you can go and you can get a Ghanaian passport and you can become a citizen there. I forget what it's called, the right to return or whatever. Okay, fine, good enough. I'm not stressing that. The vast majority of the black community is not talking about, oh, we need reparations, from Africa. We're focused on how we were treated here in America once we got here, and all the things that happened from slavery all the way through Jim Crow. That's what most African Americans are focused on. They're not focused on, what West African countries owe us. What else? What other points are there to discuss? The other thing, and there was somebody in your comment section that mentioned this, like anytime black men criticize black women, you just want to label it the manosphere. I've already known this. I already had my bouts with Mr. Holopsism back in the day. The Pan-Africanist, or I don't know what you would call it, because Black Authority, I guess, wouldn't be considered a Pan-Africanist, and neither would Professor Black Truth. But a lot of your pro-black people don't want to talk about the gender issues and the gender dynamic. They want to do like Obama and Michelle, when they went up there on whatever little podcast that they had where, everything is just the man's fault and you just have to man up and alpha your way through it. And all of the issues that men have with black women in particular, just get, dismissed and swept underneath the rug. And it's like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we actually have the numbers now. We have the numbers on, the fact that the majority of black men under the age of 50 in America are childless, while the majority of black women are mothers. That's a discrepancy. We have the greatest parental gap between the black community, between black parents or of any parents relative to any other community. That's an issue. Again, the rhetoric in the black community for a long time was, let the women tell it. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, and all of us got kids, and we all got, kids that we're not taken care of. And the reality is that most women don't want all men. Most women only want a small minority of men, and they're more willing to share a man that they consider high value or desirable than men are. Which is why you see the situation that you see where you have, women, a man like Future that's got 8 baby mamas. Y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all want to, be like Ishmael on the Titanic talking about when can we get underway, damn it. And you don't want to have, those conversations, just as you don't want to have the conversations about, what the real beef is between foundational black Americans and many of these black immigrants who come here and, talk about, oh, we're hardworking, African Americans are lazy, this, that, and the third. And they don't know any of the history. Like, you like to dive into all the ways in which African diaspora was marginalized and all the nefarious things that Europeans did and yada, yada, yada. You all will do that when it comes to talking about the continent of Africa or talking about Haiti. But when it comes to talking about the African American community or the FBA community, we don't get that grace, and point blank period, we're tired of it. Like I said in my video, which you ignored, if you want to run off and you want to talk about Pan-Africanism, be our guest. We don't care. We do not care. But as it pertains to further allowing you all into our spaces, to undermine us, like, we don't go to Haiti to undermine. You know what I'm saying? You got Langley, you got this one general, that's fucking around with Burkina Faso, and the vast majority of the African American community does not co-sign that. We like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, he's a coon. He's an agent. That's just how we look at him. You know what I mean? But you don't see African Americans going to any of these other black countries around the world and then interfering in their politics, going there, not knowing their history, not knowing, what took place, why this tribe is beefing with this tribe. We don't go in there and start meddling. But when it comes to these other groups, these other, black diaspora groups, when they come to America, y'all start meddling. You know what I mean? We trying to get reparations.
SW has a point. I noticed there's some video circulating of, I think it's Africans or Caribbeans, trying to, I guess, circumvent, which really they can't circumvent reparations, because reparations, as I know as it stands, they will give it to black people in America, the ADOS. But I think they're waiting till there is a very small percentage of black people that is actually descendant of slaves here in America, to a point where it's so small that they're eventually going to give it and roll out to them. Then I can give it to now, because right now we're like, what, 14% of the population? Out of that 14%, that I think there's still roughly over 10% that's actually Foundation Americans, ADOS, FBA percentage that identify as the ones that's been here since the inception, while the other maybe 25-30% is outside American blacks. So I think they want down to at least under 3% before they start giving the reparations to black people in America. That's my assessment. I could be wrong, but let's go.
From the system of white supremacy in America, y'all come in here and you start talking about we don't need you, nigga, you just got here and you start talking about who doesn't need reparations or some shit. We're like, nigga, who the fuck is you? Who the fuck is you? Like, you literally will just show up. Not you, but I'm saying the diaspora group will literally just show up. And then y'all will cosplay as African Americans and whatnot. Then you go up there and, people thinking, because you speak in the lingo and everything else, people not really looking at your background. Then you get up into political positions of power. You get into office. And then all of us then you start throwing us underneath the bus. We already have to deal with that internally with coons that exist within the African American community itself. You know what I mean? But what we're not going to tolerate is somebody who got an accent, who just got here, gets off the boat, and then immediately starts undermining us. No, y'all getting called out on that shit. The other thing that was irritating is at the very beginning, and I should have said this at the beginning, but when you're like, oh, I don't know who this the old manosphere. Dude, if you were listening to the old manosphere videos, then you know who the fuck I am. Don't sit here and try to pretend like you don't know who the fuck I am. I don't know if it was you or if it was somebody else, because it was somebody else. I had people over the years talking about debate, maybe over the last 2 or 3 years, debate Neferkare, Dessalines, and I didn't know who you were. I honestly didn't know who you were. And then I started seeing, because the way the algorithms work, I started seeing some of your videos pop up. Didn't care to watch your videos until the Carmelo Anthony shit came up. But I'm pretty sure you came over on my page at some point and you were like, debate me or something like that. Because I definitely remember seeing the Neferkare name. It could have been somebody else. It could have been a different account. But I'm not here to play that stupid ass game. The space is small enough to where people know who other people are. As it pertains to what you all have built, again, here's an example of misconstruing, the points that are being made. You all come to America and you talk about, how much you're kicking ass and what you're doing and this, that, and the third, right? And again, first question is, why aren't you doing that in your own country? Why aren't you fixing up your own country or your own infrastructure? Right? That's the first question. The second question is, why aren't you doing that here? Right? You went into some stupid shit about trying to what did you say? Something trying to impress or make the other person jealous. That's the bitch ass shit that you do. That's nigga, that wasn't the point, and you're smart enough and intelligent enough to know that wasn't the fucking point. And that's your whole style when it comes to you arguing and debating Dennis. And it's irritating because you won't have a real man conversation about, okay, we can acknowledge that, yeah, that is foul. I do see that in the immigrant diaspora. Y'all motherfuckers all act like y'all perfect and you don't do any foul shit, or you don't say anything foul, or you don't do anything out of pocket. Seriously speaking, as FBAs, we don't have no energy for that type of shit. You guys are just seen as goofy when you do that. You know, obviously, there's people come from different backgrounds, they come from different walks of life, all that stuff. We're gonna have different worldviews on certain things. Okay. But one of the first things that needs to have is know the history before you open your mouth. Know FBA history before you open your mouth. Know about redlining and blockbusting and Jim Crow and eminent domain and urban renewal and convict leasing and debt peonage and COINTELPRO and the 1954 Federal Highway Commission Act, right? And the CIA Iran Contras and the 1994 crime bill and the crack cocaine disparities. Know about all that shit before you just open your fucking mouth and just start talking about who the fuck is lazy. Again, I'm not saying Neferkare says this. I'm saying these are the people that you defend. Okay, the FBA irritation with the black diaspora does not come out of the void. Stop doing the same bullshit that the white supremacists do whenever we call them out on their shit. Oh, that's not racist. Oh, no racist. There wasn't some racist shit. I didn't do no racist shit. But yet we see the outcomes. That shit is annoying, dude. FBAs have enough shit on our plate. Like, we have enough shit on our plate. Okay? We got a political system from the Democrats of benign neglect. We got the system of white supremacy, which is something that you all don't have to deal with in your home countries, and you all can't even make it work. You got your own land, you got your own resources, you got your own sovereignty, and you got corrupt leaders that fuck over your own country. But yet y'all always over here talking about what's going on with us. Y'all always over here talking about what's on our plate. You know what I'm saying? We have our own issues and our own problems that we need to prioritize, and you all have your issues. There is no blockade, as I said in my previous video, of African Americans, FBAs, preventing you all from coming together and forming Voltron with other black people in the diaspora. Like it doesn't require us to be involved on any level, But honestly, like, I feel like you bring these points up because like you're scared of actual action. That's what it sounds like. And I'm not even saying it as a personal attack. I'm saying that I've seen this time and time again where when people don't want to make a move, they'll find somebody else to sit there and they want to talk about the shit. It's like the white people running around talking about what's going on. What's it going on in Chicago? What about Chicago? What about Chicago, nigga? What does that have to do with your low-ass white birth rates? Right? What about Chicago? What about Chicago? What does that have to do with the fact that these white employers, these white elites don't want to pay you? What does that have to do with the fact that you can't afford a house? Right? What does that have to do with the fact that they eliminated pensions and replaced it with the 401k, which is a joke? Right? What does it have to do with the fact that wages have been stagnant for the last 40 years? What about Chicago have to do, with the fact that freaking, the dollar has lost 85 to 90% of its value? What does it have to do with that? Nothing. And what does anything that's going on in the FBA community have to do with whatever it is that you want to address? I address Macron. Okay, well then address Macron. You know what I'm saying? We don't have anything to do with what beef you got with Macron and what France has done to the Francophone countries, and how the Francophone countries are giving France 500 billion of its freaking dollars every year. We don't have nothing to fucking do with that. We don't have nothing to do with that. And again, I guess through several degrees.
A quick pause. As SW going in, logically, responsibly. This ideology between these two gentlemen is very intense. In my opinion, I think SW holds more stronger weight, and reason for that is I think he's more experienced. He's more of a seasonal gentleman. I think he's in his 40s, probably 41 now, and he knows really what he's laying out. He's talking about now. I think the problem with Neferkare, he does too much childish things, like the insults and all that stuff. And I see he does it because it's really shock value to keep the viewer engage in his content, but it's kind of disrespect when you do that to other black men, and that's not cool. But you can't tell niggas anything. Let's keep going.
Of separation, Dennis Sperling addressing and saying that Ghana, or whatever African nations owe African Americans reparations, interferes with it's just another like problem on Africa's plate. When they're trying to deal, with European powers. I can see where you're frustrated with that. You know what I mean? But to sit there and then go on and beat it like a dead horse, like this is some collective FBA position, you know what I mean, that's preventing you from addressing or dealing with what, nigga, stop the cap, yo. Stop it. You've been doing this shit for several months now. And it just seems like you're just trying to find reason to make content and put out content instead of just really just sticking to your points and focusing on that. Like, I think it's goofy to sit there and focus on Dennis as opposed to focusing on what you've been focusing on. I just think that's goofy. I like, my whole thing is, we should just separate. We should just separate and focus on our own issues, because since we can't come together, then we just need to separate. You focus on your African issues. We focus on our, American issues. And that's just what it is. I don't know why that's so difficult. I don't know why that offends, so many people. I don't know why everybody runs around and they get all butthurt about that. It makes no sense to me. But there's definitely like a cockiness and an arrogance to Neferkare that like you can hear it, and it's just like I'm like, okay, you're not leveling with anybody. You're not like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. Like, there is no I can see where you're coming from with Neferkare. There's none of that. There's no I can see where you're coming from. Certain things I can see where Africans are coming from. I can see where Caribbean black folks are coming from. They'll come here and they're like, oh, I'm an immigrant, and they'll get over, but like the thing is you don't come here with the same historical damage. African Americans have been dealing with the day-to-day oppression of the system of white supremacy, since the conception of this nation. You all have existed and operated in nations where it's nothing but a black government and black leadership and black people, even though I could argue in the Caribbean, y'all got some self-hating Negroes in the Caribbean, because a lot of times when you look at the leadership in the Caribbean, especially in Haiti, it's all the light-skinned folks that magically are at the top of the society and the government. You know what I mean? Just go and just Google some Haitian politicians and everything. It's all these high yellow motherfuckers. So when they sit there and they talk about we so proud and pro-blackity, black, your leadership says otherwise. Same thing with Jamaica. All the people that got the money, the people that speak proper French and all that other shit. These are colonial hangovers. Y'all haven't eradicated that. You haven't dealt with that. You know what I mean? But then, like, personally, I think a lot of people are going off, and I need to end this video soon so I can match the shortness of the video, the brevity of the video. But a lot of people are biting off shit that's bigger than they can chew. Like, you haven't fixed the issues in your own country. If African Americans are the face of poverty, the face of incarceration, the face of undereducation, the face of unemployment and underemployment, then why are we out here talking about Africa? Right? Would that make sense? Oh, I'm going to go around the world and go help you when you can't even help yourself. Haiti can't even help itself. You got Haitians here that they don't even want to go back. Haiti has been destabilized and fucked up for as long as we can imagine. And yet, oh, we need to talk about what's going on in Africa. You need to talk about what's going on in Haiti, man. If you're Haitian, if you a Zoe Pound, you need to talk about what's going on in Haiti and stop talking about what's going on in Africa. Haiti is in no position to help Africa. Now, if you want to form Voltron with those other countries and come to the table and talk about having some sort of collective, the whole thing like a bundle of sticks is stronger than an individual twig, then that's a different conversation. But when y'all I feel like a lot of people just want to be more important than they actually are, and they want to feel like they're out here doing things and accomplishing things and whatnot. And it's like, dude, you're biting more than you can chew. I mean, you just plain and simple. Now, on another aspect, I think the other thing that happens is people do get too caught up in like comments. You know what I mean? Like it's like you have the leaders, the voices, the intelligentsia, the people who make the content and make the videos. Okay? Nobody really has any control over the people in their comment section. And what I notice is that you get people who they will cause whole fucking wars between different factions in the black community because they read one comment that they didn't like in their comment section. And then they try to make it like that one comment is reflective of the whole other side. And then they'll go 6 months making content, about, this position that is based off of 1 or 2 comments in their comment section. I'm like, niggas, stop it. Stop it. You know what I mean? And that goes on in the manosphere. It's like if you got a whole, like, people who take whole positions, that's one thing. But I notice this because, like, when it comes to FBAs, man, a lot of FBAs they're just not invested in anything outside the United States. They're not. They're simply not. And I do think that, like, Tariq is kind of, with the whole tether thing. I see people that, like, they take, because I got people in the gender war. I'll post something, and the motherfuckers will be like, they'll act like black women are the great shaitan, and I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like it's like you can call it out, put a pin on it, and be like, y'all women say that y'all don't do this, but here's a receipt, here's an example, and I just leave it at that. But when they go into this whole, like, splitting mentality where it's like all black men good, all black women bad, like, that's when I'm like, okay, motherfucker, you're clearly too far gone. And then I'll see the same thing when it comes to the tether conversation. I'll say, oh, he has an accent, that means he's a tether coon ass nigga. I'm like, that doesn't mean that he's a tether and has tether ways. Every person who was born outside the United States is not a coon. It does not work against the interest of African Americans. That's just not true. But I've noticed that, primarily coming from Tariq Nasheed, there are people within his audience that take that sort of splitting position where all FBAs are good and all people born outside, all black people born outside the country are bad. And I do think that that's problematic, and it's a bad take. And the more extremist people, they need to be weeded out. Black people should not be fighting like this because you see that when it comes to white supremacy and the immigrants and everything, like, they're all over there forming Voltron. They're forming Voltron in the United States. They're forming Voltron, in Europe, right? You see this, you got all this immigrant shit in Europe. Like, that don't have anything to do with us, right? We're not trying to immigrate to Europe, right? That's Africans that are dealing with that, right? That's Africans that are in Ukraine and the white guy forces them to eat a banana and whatnot. We're over here with secondhand embarrassment, right? There's Africans that are over there getting their ass whooped by the shortest man on the planet, getting whooped like they some little kids and shit, not standing up for themselves. Now, recently, the Africans have pushed back because, the population has seen, that, these videos and how embarrassing, that type of shit is. That shit looks crazy to us, as FBAs, And you on your own continent, in your own country, with the majority. You got black police officers, black judges, black courts, black military. You know what I mean? And the Chinese just run up in your shit and start whooping your ass. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. You can't do that in China. You can't be an African in China and whoop up on some Chinaman and not have them put your foot in their foot in your ass. There's been Africans that have been killed in China fucking around with some Chinese girl. You know what I mean? But yet they coming over into Africa, impregnating the African women, whooping up on your ass, not paying you and all other type of shit. Like, I'm just saying, a lot of y'all got some real audacity when it comes to coming to America and talking shit on us when we're still dealing with white supremacy and we're in the belly of the beast. And y'all are in your own countries with your own sovereignty, with your own corrupt governments that you haven't addressed, and then you come over here and want to talk shit over here. That's crazy work. So I just, my whole thing with Neferkare is like, you gotta stop with your your grandstanding and your soapbox talking, because that's what you do. That's what you did in your response to me. It's what you do in a lot of your responses to Dennis. Like it's like half of your video is you talking about how great you are, and I did this, and I did that, and I addressed this, and I addressed that, and and real talk, like, we don't fucking care. You know what I mean? Like, all we care about is like the particular point that we made or the grievance that we had, and you feel free to disagree. Nobody's saying that you gotta agree, but you gotta all we're expecting is for you to articulate your position. We may still come to a disagreement. You know what I mean? But all the stuff about and I guess that's the new thing now. Like, Neferkare to be the voice of the tethers, to galvanize the tethers, and for all the butthurt tethers that are running over there, like, yeah, and these FBAs, they talk dirty about us, and we don't like that. First off, it's not even cut and dry like that, because there's FBAs that listen to Neferkare, and there's black people who are born outside the country that listen to me. You know what I mean? I get guys that come over, they're like, yo, I stand with FBAs on this. You know what I mean? They grew up here, their culture's here. You know what I mean? They understand, like, their parents don't get it. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, my parents just don't get it, man. They just don't get it. They come here and because they grew up in a different culture. They grew up in a different world. They weren't dealing with fucking, the system of white supremacy like that. They weren't dealing with the shit like my mother, going to Macy's when she was a little girl and being told that any jacket she tries on, she has to buy because of, nigger cooties, because white people didn't want, her contaminated black skin to infect a white girl who would also try on the jacket back in the fucking 1950s and shit. You know what I mean? Y'all don't got it. Do y'all deal with that in Jamaica? Do y'all deal with that in Haiti? Do y'all deal with that in Senegal? Do y'all deal with that in Rwanda and Burundi? Right? Y'all don't deal with no shit like that. FBAs have been on the front lines of the system of white supremacy. The system of white supremacy literally gets projected out of the United States. It literally gets projected out of the United States, amplified. The rest of the Europe ended slavery before the Americas did. Our shit went all the way up to 1865. The last slave in America was freed in 1942. So like, we know the ugliness of white supremacy, but many of y'all, man, y'all really come here and y'all think that, when these white people pat you on the head and y'all skinning and grinning in their face and shucking and jiving and kowtowing and stepping and fetching and shit, that they actually see you as different. Y'all actually really fucking believe it. And we see it. And
Yeah, the only thing I don't like about most foreign blacks, Caribbean, African, or even anywhere else where they reside, right? This white worship and this chuck and jive, I just don't like it, personally. I think that needs to stop because these people in America don't really see you as equal or anything as human. So you do all that, that's just impressing them, but they don't really are feeling impressed about you. It's a waste of time. I wish a lot more wake up and understand the racist aspect of most non-black people, but they gotta live and learn. Let's go.
it's been recently, that we've been calling it out. We've been dealing with. I mean, if I wanted to just make a series, and maybe I should just do it. Maybe I should just make a collage and really make some of y'all look like some assholes. If I literally grabbed all of the tether babble from the internet of y'all saying out of pocket shit. Everything from the I know black Dominicans to the fucking I know black Ethiopians and Somalis to the freaking the video clip of the dude talking about, I came in planes, they came in chains. You know what I'm saying? Like all that shit. All that shit. So
I think just like Neferkare gonna do a video about these whites that black people reparation. I think you need to do the same thing. SWP, make a collage of videos of these, I guess, tethers, check and jive, or white folks. I think you need to do that. Let's go.
y'all come online and act like, again, we just pull shit out of our ass and out of the voice. We ain't here for it. We don't care. We do not care what you think. We do not care what you think. Which is why many of us are indifferent to y'all, the ice coming for y'all and y'all getting up out of here. That's why we're indifferent to that shit. It would have been one thing if y'all was some ride or dies and y'all was really fucking with us and y'all was whatever knowledge you had, you were putting us on game and you were trying to, go into business with us or whatever, or you were really invested in the FBA community like that, but y'all are not. Y'all are not. And then at the 11th hour, right before you get deported, y'all want to come online and act like, oh, we've always been down with the FBA. Oh, they hate us because of who we are. Bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. Completely get the fuck out of here. That's why you don't see us kicking up dust on the shit. We are resting for that very reason. If y'all went hard in the paint, we would go hard in the paint. But y'all didn't go hard in the paint. Not enough of y'all. Y'all did not go hard in the paint. There was always some little microaggression, type of shit that y'all would say. Even talking about like the grapevine when they would have their little panels and shit like that. There would always be some little dig at African American. Oh, our culture, y'all's fucked up. We good. Y'all, we ain't fucked up. Y'all fucked up. Y'all mindset is fucked up. Oh yeah. Right? And it'll be the same women that find street niggas attractive. Right? And they just want to use street niggas as their little plaything. You ain't supposed to be fucking around with African Americans. No way, bitch. Fuck you doing. Right? Because they're immersed in the culture and they're no different than their other black American female counterparts, but they feel superior because, they're not African American. Right? They can stick their toe in the community and in the culture when it's fucking convenient, and then as soon as the drama, as soon as the negative shit comes through, then they jump out of the pool. Oh no, we ain't got nothing to do with that. Oh no, that's them FBAs. We ain't got nothing to do with that. We tired of that shit. So I mean, that's all I gotta say about it. I just think it's a waste of time to sit there and go back and forth, with about Dennis and like his position and shit like that, because it doesn't reflect, the vast majority of us. It just simply does not. You don't hear it freaking name one other person on YouTube. This is what I'm talking about this like one person position shit where people like just run off, and Name one other FBA on YouTube, whether, I don't know, Tone Talks, fucking Yvette Carnell, freaking Tariq Nasheed, who else? Give me somebody else. Professor Black Truth, Black Authority. Give me anybody, any one of the big voices in the FBA space or the ADOS space who has said, you know, it's a good idea. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna sue Africa. Where, nigga? Where the fuck is this going on? You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm talking about this sort of like, you know, turning a fucking a mole and or freaking a molehill into a mountain, you know, and then acting like, you know, like they cooked. And I'm like, oh my God, man, like really you're gonna run with this? I'm like, oh my God. And that's what I see from Neferkare, and I don't really have no respect for that type of behavior. You know what I mean? I don't have any personal beef with anybody. I'm too old for that shit. You know what I mean? But when it comes to how people argue, when it comes to how people respond, when it comes to the tactics that people use, and I'm so keen on people's I've been doing this shit for such a long time and arguing and debating people and making counter videos and everything. I know people's tactics. I know what they're doing when they do it. So please don't do it. Just be a straight shooter. Okay, I hear what you're saying. This is what I disagree with, and this is why. And nobody can really say anything about that. Nobody can really say anything about that. But when I start smelling that ego, when I start smelling the puffing up of the chest and all that shit, I'm like, oh, here we, this motherfucker, you know. And then the straw man start coming. I'm like, it's a waste of time. I don't even need to address this. You know. And I give people a couple chances to clean it up. But if they continue to do it, like, it's like I'm not even going to address what they say in the future, because there's no point, because all that's going to happen is you make a point, it gets intentionally misconstrued, and then they respond to the straw man, and then stand there and go, I defeated you, SWP. I defeated. That shit is so corny. Motherfuckers were doing that shit back in, and those who have followed me since way back in the day will know what I'm talking about. That's like that freaking J. Ryder 4 type shit, man. I defeated you, SWP. I defeated you. Oh my God, man. Like, for real? No, we're not doing that. You know. Anyway, that's all.
All right. So you hear from both opponents. Both of them have some honest opinions. I think I will give more SWP more the up and arm, and the more of the heads up lead. And really, he actually made a much more thorough point. And I think because he's more older in season. And if we had to pick sides, Neferkare did only 1 or 2 videos on Dennis anyway, so his response to SWP was a little bit too childish, in my opinion. And he knows, like most of a lot of dudes on the sector's YouTube, because he listens to a lot of content. Because you would not know or do content if you've not been listening to people that have been here before. A lot of us. It helped before even I did content on YouTube. So I think he has more stronger stance, and his ideology kind of makes more better sense, because let's be honest, there's very few people that still will fight for what we like to call Pan-Africanism today. And to be honest with you, Pan-Africanism today, whether it is dead or strong, is right now at a stalemate right now, because really true, most black people are not really doing nothing to really fight back white supremacy globally. Nor what they tell you what's going on, but really we're not really as collective enough, fighting enough constructively, where white people or any person that's not black are already threatened or scared. And don't think that numbers play a game, especially the African continent, because there's more black people that we have a stronger ground. No, if the African man and woman mind is not right, then anyone else that comes in the land, they will completely dominate, because they got them subconsciously, psychologically, and mentally. and that's where the problem lies. So Ibn Troy, what he's doing right now, is honorable. I gotta question it because usually a lot of African leaders nowadays, something happens to them eventually once they oppose the West. Right now, you don't see that happen to him right now, so I'm not sure what deals he's doing, or he's playing game with West to, make it seem like he's gained a bigger footnote or grounds in that part of Africa. So I'm not really holding all the ducats on particular one African leader. I just don't, and I don't think most intelligent black man, black woman that follow news should do as well. That's it. All right, leave your comments on about this video. Who you think has more has the more better argument? Who and you think between the two controversies, which one you sway better? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. And other than that, thank you for watching. Take care.